kind of a long podcast today. It's the RIOT podcast.
Welcome to an extra long. You got to make it seem like we
long
we
stretch.
tried really hard. Like this is our gift today. We give more.
So here's the kind of stuff we got in here: animals and sleeping. James Corden, which I guess a controversial figure.
Well, I was looking after we talked about it, and, he's been trending because people just aren't happy about him being a part of the Friends reunion. And someone on a Reddit forum did a story about him when they met him, and they called him a drunken panda. And I don't know if I'll ever be able to get that out of my mind. It's just a boozy. No, they called him a boozy panda. That's it, a boozy panda.
It was a boozy panda.
They just say he's kind of not as nice as his perhaps persona is on the show.
Do you think? I feel like I'm the opposite. I think I'm way nicer in person than I am on the show.
You're way nicer, but I think that's very common for someone who's very outgoing, front-facing.
Oh, that they're not nice
that they might be not as nice all the time, because you can't keep that up all the time.
The other thing about it, though, too, is sometimes it's not about, I will say sometimes it's not that they're not being nice. Now, I'm not defending anybody, but I know certain people who are very much outspoken in public, but if you get one-on-one, they're really quiet.
Yeah.
And sometimes people take that as they're standoffish or rude. And it's actually, that public persona they have is a whole lie. This is who they really are.
No, with him and others, they say that, it's that Hollywood thing they sometimes say where they're more entitled.
Boozy pandas?
They're verbally very rude. And there's a difference to that.
A few other things in here. Let's see. The new Batman and Superman cartoons. What is cardening? Doritos Casserole.
That's good. If anybody tries that, will you please let us know?
Please do.
Please take a picture of it and send it to us.
Bluffing as a sign of intelligence. Obadiah is a snitch. Getting ratted out by the dentist. Call of Duty and Call of the Wild. Call of Nature.
That does work.
Yeah. So that's all on the podcast today.
Enjoy. Thank you guys for listening. Text and say hi. 877-2-RADIO-U. Include your name and that you're a podcast listener.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
The RIOT isn't all bad, but this is the worst of the RIOT. RadioU.
The RIOT always on the quest for better sleep, unless it involves less screen time.
Yeah, more exercise. We've heard those suggestions before, but I know it's not just us. I know literally if you ask most people, they're always saying they want more sleep.
Well, Nikki, Concordia University in Montreal.
Yeah.
They took a look at 188 people between the ages of 11 and 17, and they found a positive correlation between those that slept with animals and the quality of their sleep.
It's probably not as good.
No, it's better.
It's better?
Then
I should be sleeping amazing.
They said that kids that slept with their animals slept better.
Stuffed animals or pets?
Pets,
okay.
Like dogs and cats.
Yeah, all right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then what's wrong with mine? Well, maybe mine's too many.
Well,
sometimes mine's up to 3 dogs. And none of them are very small. So
Nikki, I can't speak to your current situation.
Sure.
I can only tell you that according to this,
I should be better sleep.
Shows that. Now, keep in mind that this is 11 to 17 and you're not 17 anymore.
That's true.
So
I can't handle their little paws in my back, and then they squish me over, and they get very hot during the night, and it's just a lot of fur.
So they said that up until now, a lot of people have said no, it's bad to sleep with your dog because you
would hurt your sleep and stuff.
Well, they said that it was a matter of it could add to respiratory problems because of the pet dander. And the noises made by the animal could end up waking you up. But they said that they basically did a sleep study.
Yeah.
And if they had a dog, their pet, they slept better.
All right. Well, put your dogs in the bed or the cat in the bed.
Yeah.
The cat is usually by choice. They're going to want to or they don't.
Yeah. I mean, you can't make a cat do anything.
You can't really make them do that on their own.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I don't know if that's a help for me, but for anybody else, if maybe you have a manageable amount of pets.
Well, they say a pet. They don't say an entire gaggle of animals.
I do have a gaggle.
Nikki has a farm in her room.
Cinnamon, Sugar, Rolo, they're actually still in bed right now sleeping, so they don't care.
Those are all things I don't know. But I'm just telling you that according to this,
one pet it is.
you should be the most rested person I know.
If not, I could have like the chosen one each night who gets to sleep in bed, and then the others have to sleep. I have a little sofa in the room there. They also tend to lay down. So whoever wins the lottery for that night gets to stay in bed.
What you're about to hear will live on the internet forever. Sorry, Internet, the worst of the Riot podcast.
Now, Nikki and I have warned you several times that every single day from now until next Friday, actually probably until weeks that follow, there's just going to be at least one, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of news, 10, 6, 14, 25 pieces of news about the Friends reunion special.
Yeah, good luck, everybody, wading through all that.
It's just a talk show.
Well, yeah.
I mean, they might as well do it on YouTube.
HBO Max would differ on that. I mean, that's theirs.
I know, but why share the revenue with them? Like, set it up on YouTube, monetize your channel, you're done.
I don't know. I have a friend who really likes it, and basically her thought was that
Pause.
Yeah, it's not me. I never really cared for Friends. I mean, I didn't hate it, but I didn't also love it.
I have a friend who really likes it.
I can have friends.
Not saying you don't have friends. I'm just saying that something about this feels suspect to me, but go ahead.
Their thought was that there just seemed like there was a lot of time and that was all that came out of it, because they were supposed to do things a while ago and it moved to HBO Max a while ago. And I guess people were just kind of expecting a bit more.
Yeah. Well, Nikki, they're really unhappy now. Like, the latest thing people aren't happy about, James Corden is going to be hosting it.
Everybody was so mad at that.
Why?
Well, they just don't. Not everybody likes him, and then everybody likes to pile on.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's
and then I have another friend. No, just teasing.
She says she doesn't like
mostly
how fat he is.
They were just saying, like, why he has no part in the Friends world. Like, they could have probably picked someone who maybe guest starred on the show or done something else with it.
I like James Corden, but I don't know. I mean, I don't love him, but I think he's pretty good at what he does. Mm-hmm. So I would think, now again, this just goes to show you my ignorance. But my thought is, no, like, having someone who isn't a part of the team do the hosting makes more sense.
Sure, to bring it out. And
yeah, so that way that someone can be on the outside of the conversation, help coaching the conversation along.
It must be hard to be people like him because they're just famous, because then you hop onto Twitter and he was trending yesterday how much everybody hated him. Oh, it's like, that's harsh. It's not even aired. Still, that's harsh.
Oh, this may shock you, Nikki, and I don't want to, but people are horrendously unfair online.
Absolutely. So even if you don't like him, you don't have to go that far. You don't have to go and make the guy trending because you hate him.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to shock a lot of people, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it. You can be unhappy about something and let it go.
Sure.
Yeah. Without, or you could even say, I wish someone else was hosting. It doesn't have to be, I hate James Corden and everything about him always.
And I hate you if you like him.
Yeah. There's some, I guess what we're saying is there's some middle ground here.
Yeah, I understand. Well, the reunion is going to air on the 27th, and it is on HBO Max.
That's next Thursday, right? Oh, my subscription's still good.
There you go. Yeah, next week on Thursday. And maybe, just maybe, guys, you need to wait till Friday or like the weekend if you really want to experience it. Or you just watch it late Thursday night.
No, you watch it live.
Watch it that day. It's not live, is it?
I know, but like whenever they drop it.
It's like, I don't know if it has a live time or not. But yeah, they're just going to take a look back at Friends, the TV show. The laughs, Obi, the memories, and the tears.
Oh, yeah. That's what I want to see. A bunch of...
Now look at you. You might as well be tweeting and just saying how mean it is.
A bunch of wonderful people coming together to reminisce about their time together.
A long time ago.
They were friends with each other. I was friends with them.
Mm-hmm.
Something to listen to when you meant to work out but tripped into a box of donuts. This is RadioU's Worst of the Riot.
It seems to me that despite pizza's ability to bring peace to the world, there are still a lot of really rough things that happen around pizza. Exhibit A, Chuck E. Cheese.
I don't know if that counts as pizza. It might not fall under the category technically.
All right. Well, Exhibit B, Nikki.
Uh-huh.
Little Caesars.
I also don't know if that falls under the pizza category technically.
Okay.
It's a little better than the Chuck E. Cheese, but that's about convenience and price.
Okay. Well, did you see what happened at Chuck E. Cheese in Georgia Little Caesars in Georgia this week?
What happened?
Augusta, Georgia? Dude, this is like, there's not just a tussle that broke out. There is like a brutal fight between two women. So there's a lady that's seated in the Chuck E. Cheese. Gosh, I keep saying it.
Oh, Little Caesars.
Little Caesars. She's waiting on her hot and ready. And somebody comes in, dude, grabs her by her hair and starts pulling her.
Why? Do they know each other?
Pulls her outside. Well, okay. Now, the police were not willing to comment on this. She stomped on the woman's head.
Oh, that's bad.
And so here's what it comes down to. This, according to social media, she says the lady that assaulted her went to jail, and this lady babysat her kids.
It seems to be something involving the suspect's children and their father. So it seems to be a family problem.
So it turns out that a lot of people are saying, like, hey, she was, with the dad while the mom was like all this stuff, and there's a fight, and she's. I'm
drama with that.
I'm looking at her Facebook post about it. She says, I am the victim. All I did was help a friend out with his kids while his baby mama was locked up.
Too much drama. Too much.
And
that's a spacious Little Caesars. Just from the picture. I normally ours are just like, here, walk in, but don't like stay inside. And you definitely can't sit down inside.
The Little Caesars by my house, like they don't even like social distancing is a little joke they tell.
Yeah, this one has like a little game machine in the corner. Like it looks like you can actually go into this one.
Yeah. No, not my experience. Not my experience. And to be clear, I don't want this to be my experience.
Well, no, but if they had a smaller Little Caesars, then there's not enough room to fight inside. Problem solved.
Well, in fairness, she does drag her by her hair outside.
Yeah, I guess. Man, she really got messed up. Like her face has got a lot of blood on that. That's not good.
What?
No fighting, guy. Don't fight, because you know who really loses here? It's the pizza. And you just wanted to go and you're like, hey, let's cut back. And we still want pizza, but we don't want to spend as much. Let's just go walk into Little Caesars and grab something.
Yeah.
And you're the one that can't get in there and can't get your pizza.
Or you are in there and this is all happening and you're just like, you never come back. You're like, the last time I was at Little Caesars, I watched this lady drag this other lady out by her hair. I can't come back here again.
Can't come back. You feel bad about that. Or you just can't leave. You literally can't leave as they're fighting and then the police want you to tell your story about it.
Yeah. Been there, done that.
What's worse than the worst of the riot? The Worst of the Riot podcast. Yeah, you did this to yourself. Podcast. Riot. RadioU.
Now, Nikki, you're into the hip new trends.
If it's trending on TikTok, then sure, I'll see it.
Okay, let me hit you with a word and see if you know it. Cardining.
Cardining? Is that with like cardigans?
It is. You grow cardigans.
You do?
No.
Are we wearing cardigans? I never did, but are we wearing them?
No. Cardining is putting together a little garden that lives in your car.
Oh my gosh. I've seen the fake ones, but is this like a real one?
No, I think most of them are just fake.
They're just fake? Okay, then I've seen those, but...
But, it brings... Does it spark joy?
I think it might. I love little gardens.
Does it spark joy for you when you look at the photos?
I'll have to, let me sign in and then I'll look at it.
Yeah, okay. I just sent them to you. But what people have done is, this to me looks kind of like, it's basically they're somewhere on their dashboard. They've built a little space.
Yeah.
And they've put in some cases, fake flowers, but this guy's got succulents and cacti.
Probably think
those would live inside your car.
It's something that needs little care because you can't put anything too much. I've seen a lot of people pin flowers to the top of their car, on the inside. You can do that too.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what?
Why are you using the cup holders, guys? Don't you use your cup holders for drinks?
You know, some people don't.
This one has 2 really well-sized succulents in there. It's like, wait a minute. It's a cute idea, but then I also think resale would be hard unless you clean out your garden.
Well, you know, you're going to have to. Then, okay, we're looking at it the entire wrong way. We're like, oh, this hurts resale. No, when you go and especially if you sell privately, you're like, you know, 4-wheel drive, blah, 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 carton
included.
You know, you just go ahead and leave it in there. And some people would be like, oh, you know what? I don't have a very green thumb, but I'm willing to try it.
I know. You just want to take over. You don't want to kill the carton. People are kind of negative on it. They say, like, what happens if you break? Like, wouldn't all the stuff just shift around? So I don't know how you keep that stuff in place.
What happens? Oh, break. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, would it all shift forward, or there's some gravel with this or some sand? It's going to get places.
You know, Nikki, I feel like it's time for us to tell the story about how roots work.
That's true, but you know, if you break hard enough, like that thing's going.
Yeah, it's true. But in fairness, so are you.
That's true.
Yeah.
They say, oh yeah, what if the airbags go off and you end up covered in cactus?
Hey, well, okay. If the airbags deploy, how my cactus is doing.
Is that the least of your worries?
It's towards the bottom of the list.
Hey, you know what? Then you're not a very good gardener.
I already know that's true.
Because you don't care about your plans.
I already know that's true.
It's a great idea. If you got the space in your car, you might be ridiculed or you might be praised. You're going to have to just see what your friends and family think of you.
You know what? You're going to have to decide at some point that you don't care
about what
your
people
friends
think.
And family think, that you're a gardener and it doesn't matter.
So a gardener is a car gardener, and you're creating a mini garden bed inside your car, like on the dash or in your cup holders. That's it counts as a trend. I just don't know how big of a trend it is.
It's nice. You know, I hope that, you know, bringing the outside in on those long commutes, I'm sure it's very relaxing.
It could be nice. Could be good.
The Riot with Obadiah and Nikki on RadioU.
So some kind of awesome news, potentially awesome news, emerging yesterday about 2 new animated shows that they're making.
We mentioned maybe yesterday or the day before, but like with Netflix, everything's going animated.
So much of it is.
It does well, and I just think it's easier for them to create in the time of it still being difficult to film things, and people enjoy it.
So they announced a Superman show. It'll be called My Adventures with Superman. And it's an all-new kids and family series following the action-packed comedic and romantic adventures of Superman and Lois Lane.
And where will that be?
That will be on HBO Max.
HBO Max.
The other thing they announced, and this one...
that'll also be on Cartoon Network, too.
Really?
Yeah, it seems like it.
Oh, okay. Well, good for that. I mean,
the My Adventures with Superman, which will also air on Cartoon Network.
Oh, you know what? And the same thing with this Batman show. So it's going to be called Batman Caped Crusader. They say it's a reimagining of the Batman mythology, which blah, 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 whatever. But the real news here is that it's executive produced by J.J. Abrams. That's kind of a big deal. But if you're an old school Batman fan, an even bigger deal is that it's executive produced by Bruce Timm.
Was he a part of other stuff?
Bruce Timm is well known and highly regarded for his role in creating the original Batman the Animated Series. And so that's a show that to this day people think of.
It's still great.
Almost a little too highly. It's like hushed tones. Be careful what you say about it. They're really into it. So it looks cool. I'm super interested in what they're going to do with it, especially, again, because it's that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can only hope that, you know what? Kevin Conroy, I guess, is not going to be back. They say he's probably not back for Batman. Maybe he retired or something. I don't know. But they says the series will be thrilling, cinematic, and evocative of Batman's noir roots.
They say they're beyond excited to be working together to bring the character back to tell engrossing new stories in Gotham City.
Yeah.
So you get Superman and a Batman cartoon.
Yeah. I'll at least give them a shot. I can't promise you any long-term.
Well, hopefully, like with other cartoons, they know not to expect too much. So we don't need anything too long or however many episodes. They're not saying anything along those lines.
Well, if they're going to run on HBO Max and Cartoon Network, they're going to.
It has to fit the Cartoon Network size.
They'll be 22 minutes a piece, and they'll make 20 of them or something like that'll kind of be it. But you know what? Whatever. I'll watch it.
This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
It's a dangerous space to find yourself in, Nikki, because I want to buy something.
And
but there's nothing to buy.
Well, yeah. Did you ever find your Xbox headphones you wanted?
No. I was just thinking maybe like a movie or something.
Oh, we want that.
Coming up on the weekend, grab a movie, watch a movie. I am completely guilty of loving to do that. And as I look through, it's just like, nah.
But remember, you are fortunate enough to have almost your own movie store with your collection. You can just go in and see if you haven't watched something that you bought.
I don't think I'm in that space anymore.
You don't want to watch something you already have?
No. Meaning that I don't think I've got stuff where it's like, oh, I've never even seen it. Oh,
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's...
Remember I told you to catalog your collection?
I already have.
That way, oh, you have?
Using the My Movies app from Blu-ray.com, I have been able to catalog them. And what's really sad is that, this is how you know that you have a problem, is that in the app, it basically lets you tell the story of when you got it.
Yeah.
So it'll tell you the day you got it. You can keep track of how many times you've watched it.
Oh, wow.
The price you paid for it. What else can you tell? Like there are like a notes section. So it's like I went for a movie, like it's on my Black Friday haul. I can be like, ooh, I paid $6.99. I paid this. Blah, blah, blah. This is the store I bought it at. All of that.
You did all that? You did. All right.
I did. I mean, it's been a little while since I updated it, so that's something I could do.
Well, yeah, maybe spend time this weekend picking your favorite old movie while you update your catalog.
Yeah. I got excited. I pre-ordered Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah.
But that's not until the middle of July.
Oh, so you have some time.
Oh, there's time. There's time. So,
well, I don't know what else to tell you then.
You don't have to tell me.
If there's nothing else, we'll just have to be content with that. Is there anything streaming? Or?
Yes, Nikki, I'm looking for content.
What? Oh, contend.
Yeah, I'm looking for content.
Contend with it?
I prefer it on a 4K Blu-ray disc, but...
Never mind.
Whatever.
Well, is there any new movies out this weekend? Are we missing anything? Or
are there any movies
any streaming?
This weekend? Well, in streaming, tomorrow you get the Mall of the Dead,
the Army thing?
Casino of the Dead, Army of the Dead. Is that what it's called?
The Netflix zombie one?
Zack Snyder. Yeah, that's tomorrow.
There you go. It's not.
Are you going to watch that?
I actually don't think some parts of it look pretty good.
So you think they look bad?
I think they look bad.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like
they say it's a little long. And normally when someone says something's a little long, that means it's full of parts that could have been and should have been edited out.
It's 25 minutes. It's a bit much.
I don't know. I haven't seen the best reviews on it, so I don't know how excited I am.
I'm kind of interested because I watched Zack Snyder's remake of, was it Dawn of the Dead, where they're at the mall? So I watched that. And so I've seen him make a zombie movie before, and it was pretty good.
He can do it, but sometimes with, I don't know if it's a Netflix thing or if they made this and then Netflix took a hold of it, but it just has this formula, and I feel it from over here.
You already know.
I already know, and I don't even know if I need to watch it to find out, but maybe it's okay.
I will say, though, that's the beautiful thing about it being a movie on Netflix. When you start it and you're like, I hate this, you just boop.
Turn it off.
You're so uninvested.
Well, what's the number,
proceedings.
Though? What do they say? Is it 20 minutes, or how long do they say for them to count you?
Count you as a view?
As a view.
I don't remember.
Because if you really want to be that way, you got to find out so you know when to stop watching it.
So that I don't count?
You don't count. If you don't want it to count, then you got to know. So yeah. I'm not sure. You'll have to look it up.
Was that like 6 Underground, where I loved the first 10, 15 minutes of the movie and the rest of it was awful?
It was such a bad movie.
It was. Hey, I thought the chase sequence was great. Apparently, I'm the only one. But.
Well, that movie is always thought of as not the best.
All right.
Where do you go when you need someone to listen to your problems and give you a big hug? Not here. Obviously. This is The Riot on RadioU.
So people are arguing over this recipe, and I think it sounds incredible, which is why I look the way I look.
And why we don't want to argue about it.
Okay. This lady, she posted her recipe for Doritos Casserole.
Yeah.
It was it's a group called Cheap Meal Ideas. Here's what it is. It's hamburger. Is that 500 grams? So what's that? About let's say a pound. Like maybe it's a little more, a little less. 2 cans of cheddar cheese soup.
Oh my gosh.
2 cans of cream of chicken soup.
All right.
2 cans of evaporated milk.
Really?
shredded cheese,
Yeah.
bag of Doritos.
There it is. That sounds achievable right there.
I mean, I am certain
That must taste really good.
that it would make me sick. Like, it would be, but like, everybody's like, this is gross. No.
You
gosh.
don't understand, guys. That right there is perfect.
I'm telling you, like, I'm looking at this just like,
It doesn't sound healthy,
out.
and
No,
it's not like it
remotely.
sounds like...
Not remotely.
It doesn't seem like it would sound like something you would tell... Say you had some friends who were really into cooking and elaborate things and not like a casserole. Don't tell them this. You just eat this and be happy on your own.
No, this is, this right here is the food that, like, when nobody's around,
And if you live by yourself, man, you could live off that thing for like a week.
nobody has to know.
And you just be happy as can be.
So she shows that she actually has the Doritos, like, in the mix. I say you keep them out, you microwave this stuff, and then you pour it over some fresh Doritos.
Keep it crunchy and stuff.
Yeah, yep,
add some texture to it. That's a great idea.
It's perfect.
So
It's
sorry, there was
perfect.
condensed milk in
Follow
there?
me for more recipes.
I know he's got more budget-friendly dinners for you.
Yeah, the evaporated milk, I feel like, is the one that I'm like, wait, what?
But everything else sounds pretty normal.
Yeah.
Sounds just like a Dorito cheeseburger sort of thing.
Oh, gosh, it sounds good.
Is there pictures?
Yeah. I think I'll send them over to you. I think when you see them, you'll feel
Don't
a
expect
mixture.
much because, again, it's just a casserole. And in case you're like, what's that? It's just a big thing of meat, like it's in a long tray.
I feel like it's one of those things where when you see it, there's part of you that's like, that's gross. But I can tell you what, I guarantee you're sitting there, you're firing up your Q, you're in your stretchy pants.
Oh, they're making it in a crock pot too, it looks like. Actually, you know what you really do? You take the new Doritos and it's just a dip.
It's a dip.
Just put that in. That actually looks really good.
I've found, like, sometimes when you're dealing with a dip, if you lay the chips out and just pour over.
Yeah, like a nacho thing.
Yep.
Little
Can be a
salsa
great
sour
experience.
cream on top. That is good looking.
Yeah.
Woo! Again, simple is key, guys. Don't have to be fancy.
Yeah.
Especially if it's just you at home, but just make it good.
Oh, it looks good. So
We would eat that if that was here.
Oh, absolutely. So just throwing it out there. Maybe you're on your own tonight. It's a little something for you to consider.
If anybody tries, you're like, oh, yeah, I'm trying something the Riot said. It's a Doritos Casserole.
Oh, it looks good.
Riot Podcast, Radio U.
So they're back out there. Pfizer. They say Pfizer is the hot vaccine. Like, if you're getting Pfizer, like, you're doing well for yourself in the COVID-19
You got
world.
the attractive one?
Oh, yeah.
The House of Pfizer?
Oh, yeah. So their CEO is out saying, hey, we're testing it right now, but we actually think you're going to need another booster shot. And they say at the earliest, September.
So they think a booster would just come once or twice every year, like until things get figured out more?
I don't know. That's what I get down to.
And then
I'm
is
like,
a
no, wait
booster
minute.
two shots
No, it
again
would just
or
be
one shot? Okay.
It would be a third shot. So it's like, you know what? We haven't altered your DNA enough.
And don't you feel like a kid? I don't know why, but the word booster makes me feel like a kid.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I had like a couple of years ago, there is an adult vaccination schedule. Yeah. And
who's doing that?
I did.
You did?
Yeah. My doctor was like, hey, you know what? You're overdue for blank, blank, and blank. And it's one shot. And I was just like, great.
Here, have the arm.
One in each arm. What do you got? So, yeah, I mean, I had that. My question is, will it make you sick the way that maybe the first or second one did, depending on your whatever?
Probably.
The other thing is, like, what? Are you guys telling me? I realize it's always been possible, whatever. But, like, going into flu season, like, it's going to be going into COVID season now? Is that going to be a thing? Is that what we're going to start saying during cold and COVID season? What?
I don't know, because we talked, with more and more people getting vaccinated. The problem is people have been vaccinated for quite some time now, and it only goes so long, so you'll need a booster to continue stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I usually get the flu shot every year, and people are like, it's killing you. Well, so's your car. You keep driving it.
Now, are they actually saying that, or is that just what's going on in your head?
No, they heavily insinuate it. Like, do you know what's in the flu vaccine? Let me tell you. Blah, 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 blah.
And then you're the one telling him, you're like, I don't care. I'll just take anything. Anything and everything.
Whatever. What do you got in your purse right now?
Imagine if there was like a sinus infection vaccine. You'd be all over that thing.
Oh, my gosh.
And they gave it to you in your nose.
Hey, I'm still going to see the guy, like June 9th, I think, or something. I can't remember.
Ear, nose, throat specialist.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to the ENT.
Like, Doctor, can you explain to me why I wake up with a brick inside my head every morning?
Obi has chronic sinus pressure, so.
Come on.
Get that figured out.
Maybe while I'm there, maybe they'll have some boosters. You got any boosters laying around?
I don't think you're allowed. No, you're not allowed to go into the doctor and ask for just shots or just any extra thing, because then they're going to think that you're hooked on something.
I'm hooked on vaccines.
And then it's a problem. And you're going to be marked, and you're not allowed to see the doctor then.
Yeah, he's not allowed to have any vaccines anymore. He's had too many.
He's had too many. They're not doing anything. We think he's got a problem.
It's bad for business.
The Riot. Just because it's bad doesn't mean it's not good. Wait, isn't that exactly what it means? It's The Riot on Radio U.
Nikki, right now they are making... You've heard of Band of Brothers, right?
Yeah.
You've heard of...
That was acclaimed back in the day.
What was the Pacific one? War in the Pacific. It wasn't Pacific Brothers.
No, it was not. You're right. I'll look and see if I can find it.
I think it was just called The Pacific.
Yes, I can see it because I think we still have the Blu-rays or something.
Sure.
It was a big box set.
Mm-hmm. And then I did not know this, but they are right now basically the same executive producers, a lot of the same team are working on a third miniseries in a similar vein called Masters of the Air.
Of the Universe?
Yes. No, Masters of the Universe is a cartoon.
Being made.
It's coming late July to Netflix.
It's different.
No, this is called Masters of the Air, and it will be about the air war in Europe in World War II. Huh. And they're basically saying, hey, we're making something that's going to be like these other things.
If you've not watched them, Band of Brothers in the Pacific, like I don't like that sort of stuff usually for shows, but it was very, very well done.
So better than you would think.
Yeah, absolutely.
And maybe that's not fair, but like I'm with you, Nikki. That is, believe it or not, I'm not a war movie guy. Okay, it depends.
Some more lighthearted stuff every so often, not necessarily the miniseries of this, and especially Band of Brothers was really, really good.
Really good. I actually never saw The Pacific, but Band of Brothers, I watched that on Eric's, I would say recommendation, but I think it might be closer to insistence. But I was really glad that he pushed me so hard on it because it was really good.
So I don't know if you mentioned this, but HBO originally was supposed to produce and do Masters of the Air. They passed on it a few years ago. It was such a high budget. Yeah. So I think Masters of the Air, as of last year with its notes, I'm not sure if it's still true, but it should be the first production that Apple produces and owns. So I think it's an Apple Plus thing.
Okay, that I did not. I actually didn't know that because I'm just looking at this because there are set photos that were available. I didn't know the backstory on it.
I think that's where it's going, and they have it. Like they created it.
Man, I looked not last night, 2 nights ago, 3 nights ago. I was looking at the Apple Plus lineup. Mm-hmm. That's a weird.
Little thin.
Well,
what is there?
Do
they have old shows? I mean, I had Apple Plus, but I just never got into it.
It's new stuff, but there's way more there than you think there is. I mean, it's not Netflix, but I was looking through it like, man, you guys you've made a whole lot of stuff. I haven't heard anyone talking about any of it, with the exception of the Shamalama Ding Dong one and
the M. Night Shyamalan one
and For All Mankind. Those are the two.
That's the one you watched.
And The Morning Show, but that was one of the most expensive TV shows ever made, all because of the salaries involved. And it didn't do super well, as I recall.
It won them some awards, and people were like, oh, wow. But I don't think people actually watched it.
Yeah.
Which is, when you get down to it, I think what the network actually wants. But we'll see. Master of the Air. That looks interesting.
That's got my attention for sure.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. So, all right.
People win awards for being the best at things. Are there awards for the worst? Because we have a contender. Worst of the Riot podcast.
Different dentists work different ways. I've started at a new dentist, and he's great.
You moved dentists?
I did. I found one. The dentist that I had, it was like a 45-minute drive.
And that's not worth that.
I'd recommend him to anybody. Amazing guy. Absolutely amazing. But after a while, you're like, okay, look.
Gotta go closer.
It's such a chore to get over here. At some point, we gotta...
Well, no one wants to go to the dentist anyway, so when you add a 45-minute drive to it, then that's not good.
So my new dentist has these rooms. It's called Old School Dental. It's actually an old school, and they have renovated it into a dentist's office. So are these walls, but the walls don't go all the way up to the ceiling.
Yeah.
So you can kind of hear what's going on in the
panel.
other rooms. Yeah. So I really enjoyed that. Like
Hearing everybody?
No, saying things.
Or them hearing you?
To sound terrible. My dental hygienist came in and she's like, so how are you doing? I was like, well, my wife is really being mean to me at home right now, so I'm just glad to have somebody to listen.
Oh, my God.
I said that really loud.
Why do you do that? Why don't you just let people be? What's wrong with you?
So she just kind of looked at me and I was like, no, I'm kidding. I wanted the people next to us to hear that. She started laughing. I was like, you know that right now they're awkwardly being quiet, but like not.
Well, now it's even worse too because they're hearing you whisper.
Now I got to walk out and people are like, here's my card.
Oh, you're having troubles?
Call me. There are safe spaces. I'm a terrible person.
Was that your first trip there?
Yeah.
Oh, no. That's your first impression.
Okay. But listen, you overhear things.
Easy there.
Take her easy, bud.
Be easy.
You're basically listening to a real-time cringe compilation. This is The Riot on Radio U.
Previously established, you overhear things at the dentist.
You're just sitting there waiting. Everybody's waiting and talking.
Most of the time, you don't really pay a lot of attention, but, going to the dentist, and I think maybe for guys, is probably like what it's like for women to go get their hair did, because... when you get your hair done as a guy, they're like, see you later. But girls go in and they're like, oh,
but don't you
so much
find
talking.
It's normally the technician that's talking? Because you can't really talk that much when you have all the stuff going on. You're getting your teeth cleaned.
You know what? I get a lot of words in.
Or you make it work in between.
Get a lot of words in. But you're right. The dental hygienist is usually the one that does
leading the conversation.
Yeah. But... there is a man, Daniel Warmus, 37 years old. He went to the hygienist and was telling her all about his trip to the Capitol, about how he went to the Capitol building and broke in and smoked marijuana. And the police were like, get out. And he's like, nah. And all that stuff.
So he went on January 6th. He was a part of that.
He was, and he didn't get any trouble for it because he basically, there are some people that have been charged, but a lot of people are not. But this is so great. An anonymous tipster overheard him talking to the hygienist.
To the dentist about it?
Called the FBI.
Oh, jeez.
Guess who got arrested?
How'd they get the information, though? Because then the dentist would have had to have told the information.
No, someone, according to the report, they overheard it, found out what the guy's name was,
and then told the FBI.
Called it in. So then what the FBI does is, you calling it in, not quite enough, but they take the guy's name and whatever, and then they go back and they facial recognize him in the crowd in the Capitol building.
And they found him. So he's charged with violent and unlawful entry, disrupting government business, and disorderly conduct. The penalty could be substantial, they say, but they don't really tell much more. They say it could involve jail time.
I can't decide how I feel about it. On the one hand, I'm just like, you know what you've done? You've ratted out this guy. So basically, you have fed into the narrative that the commies are everywhere. They're listening. Citizens are informing on each other. That you fed into that whole thing. On the other side, he did break the law, and when you hear somebody about breaking the law, you turn it in.
I feel like if you've done something, remember, you're not supposed to maybe talk about it as much.
Yep.
But people, I guess, can't help it.
I just love the idea, like, who tells?
And that person must have been really listening. Unless they were also more loud of an individual.
Maybe they were.
Everyone could hear him talk.
I don't know. It depends. A lot of it's going to depend on what your dentist office is like.
But the acoustics?
Yeah. For me, like it was the ceiling's open, even though there are walls, so I could hear other people. And
so it travels
with a little bit of effort. I made sure they could hear me. But this guy, dude, busted.
So it was another person getting their teeth cleaned, or was it someone else working there? I wonder.
They said it was another customer. But let's be honest, could have been anybody.
I just find it fascinating that the customer could then find out who this person was, like their full name. How did they get the full name?
It could have been as simple as walking by and looking at the chart.
Could have been, yeah. That's the part that's suspect to me.
Could have gone up to the person at the front and was just like, hey, I think that is...
Because that, I don't think they would be able to do. Like, I don't think they'd be able to tell your name, but I'm sure they just found it some other way. Followed them out or something.
Like, is that Brad Smith in there? Like, oh, no. Or that's Daniel Warmus.
No, you trick them and say hi to them when they're leaving and maybe try to do something that way.
I mean, like, there are ways, Nikki. Or it could have been somebody inside that did it.
Obadiah and Nikki tried their hardest, and that's what really matters. This is the worst of the Riot podcast.
Yeah, so what? I was a snitch.
Well, we were talking about
somebody out.
Someone they were at the dentist telling their tales of the January Capitol riots. The person was being there, and someone told on them who overheard, told the FBI, and they've been arrested.
Yeah. So I used to work for a large music and media store. They sold movies, books, like all kinds of stuff. I loved it. Loved my job there. It paid so poorly, but
you loved the entertainment side.
Fun. It was so fun to work there. And so I did. And whatever. Good times. And they had a huge problem with theft. Huge. People were stealing like crazy. And they were like, hey, if you ever see something that needs reported, say something about it. And here's this 800 number. It's anonymous, et cetera, et cetera. So I find somebody that is taking what were at the time CDs and removing all of the
packaging on it.
Well, the stuff that trips the alarms, the loss prevention stuff.
Sure.
And they were stashing large stacks of them throughout our department. And of course I found them and I was like, dude, what are you doing? And he's like, nothing. Don't say anything. You don't need to know about this, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, look, just don't do this. Well, he didn't stop.
Mm. Is it so people could go in that he knew that could then steal them? I see.
Yeah. So I called the 800 number, was like, hey, this is what I saw. I was like, I don't know anything more. This is all I have, et cetera, et cetera. And they're like, all right, thank you. This is completely anonymous. Won't tell anybody, whatever.
Did you leave a message or talk to somebody?
I talked to somebody. The whole store knew all about it. All the managers talked to me about it. Other employees knew about it. And I was just like,
what happened to anonymous?
You guys said it was anonymous. In fact, I don't even know that I gave my name. What the heck?
Your voice is recognizable. They know.
Whatever it was.
Even back then it was.
I'll tell you what. I learned my lesson that day.
Was everybody mad at you or hated you?
It definitely didn't help me make friends.
Yeah.
Which I thought was hilarious because I was just like, listen, I don't care what you do, but like, if I work somewhere and I find you stealing, I'm going to speak up. Sorry. Like, I guess I'm a bad person.
Did the person get fired or just reprimanded?
No, they didn't.
They were all in on it.
And I actually at one point thought, I was like, maybe them saying like, hey, they were just trying to find out who to make sure doesn't see them. Because,
could be.
Like that. Now there were a bunch of other people that got fired for theft, but not one person in particular. And he kind of said something to me about it, but I was just like, hey, let me tell you exactly what I told them. And I told you that if you did it, I was going to say something about it. So what do you want to do? And there I was a snitch. It's the last time I snitched, though, because after
it didn't work out in your favor. I mean, it didn't even help the store.
After I was told that they wouldn't tell anybody, and then everybody there knew, I was like, I'm out. Forget it.
Well, now you shouldn't have said that, because then in the future, if anybody knows you and they're committing some sort of crime, they know it's okay around Obi. He's not going to snitch on you.
Yeah, that's right.
Because he doesn't want to tell.
I mean, Nikki, I haven't told anybody about you yet.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So that's no big deal.
One day the FBI will be a-coming.
And I'll just be like, I don't know anything. We didn't ask. Well, I still won't know.
Unless they come and they're like, we remember you from the one time you snitched on the guy at the music store. We even found out about that.
Yeah, we got a call on that one. What?
And they told us all your info.
We know all about you.
If you've ever asked yourself, just how bad can it get? We've got your answer right here. Worst of the Riot, Radio U.
I think I may have right here clinical proof that we're brilliant.
What is it?
Well, researchers at the University of Canada, they took a group of students and they gave them a test. And they're like, all right, here's like however many words. You've got however many minutes. And just give us a definition for the words.
Okay.
And they're like, you don't know the definition? Make one up, like whatever it was. And here's what they found is that the people who were the best at bluffing, just coming up with something on the spot.
Sure.
They were like, they were the most intelligent ones out of the group.
Hey, that's
and
good.
So they're saying that oh my gosh, you've got to read this. The ability to produce satisfying bull crap. Now, this is coming from a
university.
May serve to assist individuals in negotiating their social world, both as an energetically efficient strategy for impressing others and an honest signal of intelligence. From the perspective of navigating social systems, being perceived as intelligent may be as valuable as actually being intelligent.
Yeah.
So in other words, no matter how stupid you are, if they think you're smart, that's really what matters.
Just depends on how convincing you are. Are we saying we're convincing? We could we could talk our way out of anything.
Come on. Come on.
But I also think, not to toot our own horn.
Have you guys ever heard us report on...
We're pretty intelligent.
You ever heard us report on sports? Ever heard it?
It doesn't happen often, but when it does.
I mean, do you think we know anything about it at all?
A lot of nothing right there.
Yeah. No, I think that.
Well, it's like you say sometimes when you go into a place with a clipboard and a confident
wave.
Yeah, you're ready to go. And same thing when you're talking with people. I don't think you have to remember, don't go too far in. That's when you get caught.
That's part of the intelligence.
You got
to
know how light to keep it.
Yeah. You also want to be careful. One of the best things you can do is to repeat words back to people, but you can't do it too many times.
Yeah, that's noticeable.
Because that's another sign you're stalling. You have to be careful with that. But, it's great. It's great.
So if you do that, you're like, hey, that's me. Well, look how smart you are.
So the researchers concluded that bluffing can be used as a strategy to reach a certain goal at a much smaller cost than the long and tricky process of actually learning the skill.
Well, if anything,
oh my gosh,
it gets you a little time.
I could just start naming off names because you conduct enough interviews for job positions. I think an interview might as well just be, let's find out how good you are at lying. That's what a job interview seems to be these days. Oh,
but you know what, though? We miss those days because now for so many places trying to hire, no one's even
interview.
No one's even showing up. So you miss the days of lying.
They won't even bother to show up and lie.
You didn't know how good you had it until you're trying to find someone now.
Come on, Nikki.
The worst podcast with the best listeners. This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
I almost hate to do this to you because I'm essentially going to spoil your Christmas for you. Because I'll tell you what you're getting. Digiorno has just opened their merch store at shopdigiorno.com.
What do they have?
Oh, man, we got pizza jammies, pizza hoodies. We got, is it a pillow? Pizza pillows. Did I say a pizza hoodie?
You did.
They got another pizza hoodie.
There's a tumbler. Oh,
wow.
Actually, he mentions Christmas because every time, usually around November, very early in December, so many companies like, Hidden Valley Ranch, Jimmy Dean's Sausage, all the establishments come up with a merch line and they'll sell all these products. I mean, there's not a lot of them, and I don't know if all of them are fancy, but they'll sell them and they usually sell out.
How about a Digiorno embroidered beanie?
That could be possible.
I don't understand it.
What do you mean?
Here's what I mean. Okay, RadioU, radio station. Love their music, their personalities, wear a shirt. Okay.
Shop.radiou.com. Thanks so much.
Band that I like. Love their music, wear their shirt.
Yeah. What if you love the pizza?
Is there?
It's not a hoodie. It's Digiorno hoodie.
Right? But that's kind of where it leaves me, where I'm just like, maybe, and listen, I'm open to this. Like at home, I have a Build-A-Bear Grogu from The Mandalorian, and I love that thing. So it like just sits on my couch, and I talk to it, and I snuggle with it, and it's fun. And I don't care what you guys think about it.
And the pizza socks are weird.
Well,
I don't think they should
and
be.
So, like, to me, it's, my imagination, it's a sense of humor. It's a lot of different things coming into play. Maybe the same way that I'm clutching my Build-A-Bear at night, somebody else is like, man, I just love this pizza pillow.
What you should be hating on is the fact that Digiorno thinks I'm paying $130 for a jogger set. That's what we should be mad about.
You're not wrong.
For such affordable pizza, their merch line's really overpriced.
Well, Nikki, they got to make money somewhere.
Apparently.
How else do you think they can make this pizza so affordable?
I'm not buying a pizza hoodie sweatshirt for $70. I'm not doing that.
Nikki, I don't know if you've noticed, but merch sales have gotten more expensive, but a lot of it has to do with, perhaps you didn't hear about it. Last year we were in a pandemic and we ran into a lot of supply problems. Yep. And I mean, lumber's gotten more expensive. You can't find PlayStations, and DiGiorno's really had to raise their price on pizza merch.
I swear, if DiGiorno says because of lumber prices going up that the croissant crust all over print jogger pants are $70 too, if that's the reason why, then they're not ordering right for the merch.
Well, you know what, Nikki? I see your career path laid out for you because
I can work with them on it.
And in fact, here's the thing: is I don't want you to go work for Digiorno. I want you to be an independent contractor that contacts people like Digiorno, and they just become your client.
You could get the Digiorno slice by slice baby pizza cutter. If you ever seen someone at a pizza place, it's like that big metal chopper thing that they do. That's $50. $50. That seems expensive. It's fine. I'm not ordering it anyways.
It just says Digiorno on it. I mean, at least put, I don't know.
Gold? Gold on it for that price? Put gold on it.
Put gold on it.
Giving every novelty food the publicity it so blatantly desires. It's The Riot on Radio U.
I've been reading this book. I keep mentioning it by a lady named Andy Kolber. It's called Try Softer, and one day I should try harder to know her name. But one of the things that she talks about is she's a therapist. She does what they call trauma-informed therapy. So that is dealing with your body's reactions to situations.
The trauma you've had?
Well, like you find yourself going into a situation where for reasons you don't really understand, you get incredibly nervous or angry or whatever. And you're like, I don't understand. I'm not nervous. I'm not angry. Why is my body reacting this way? And so the idea is like, well, because of what you've been through, even if your brain is not making the association in the moment, your body is associating your current circumstances with a past thing that you've been through. And as a result, the
past trauma is causing that, but you just don't realize it.
Right. And you enter what they call either hypermania or hypomania. Basically, you either completely zone out or you get way vigilant as a way to cope with your circumstances, because that's just what you do. And as I was reading through this, totally recognized this in different circumstances that I've been in. And she talks about how to calm down, how to deal with it, what to do, this concept of what they call a window of tolerance. So if you've ever found yourself in a situation where you did something really fast and it was stupid and you're like, why did I do that? It may be that basically you go into this panic mode. You've heard them say fight or flight, where you're not thinking really the way you should, the way you normally would, because you're so nervous or scared. You don't know why. I mean, it's a whole thing, but I feel like I have learned so much about life and all of these things. And so here's what I found. When I start going into a circumstance like that, where it's like, hey, I'm starting to freak out and I don't know why, or why am I so zoned out in an I just don't care kind of way, is that in those moments, I can take 30 seconds, a minute, 5 minutes, step away, step out, have a conversation with God, and get back to okay, I'm okay. This is okay. Yes, I'm uncomfortable. Yes, I don't like this, whatever it is. But God becomes this safe place where I can go back to engaging my life without being terrified and making stupid choices or being so zoned out that I let other people make stupid choices for me. God brings me back into that middle place. And that has been something huge in my life that Jesus has helped me with. He has helped me learn to calm down through this book and other books and people, but also through a literal supernatural presence of him in my life that is not something that's just explained away through psychology or biology. It's what my professor, Dr. Lincoln Stevens, would refer to as a non-sensuous perception, meaning that it's there even though I can't show it to you with the five senses. It doesn't mean it's not real. And I've had that, and you can have it too. Obadiah, that's a lot of words. Well, it's time for honesty. So listen, if you need help, if you find yourself in circumstances just like I'm saying, don't face them by yourself. Say, Jesus, I need that. I want you in my life. I want you to fill me with your spirit. I need help. I've got stuff that I need healed, and I just need you to come along and help me. I'm freaking out. Hey, he does that. And I can tell you, you can make simple, short prayers like, God help me, and he answers them because he's done it for me.
The equivalent of someone's lint collection. This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Okay. No, you know what? Let's skip that. I was like, pass on that. So I see that, Nikki, how are you doing with Call of Duty Warzone these days?
You know, I try to put the time in. I split it between that and Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
But just not as much time as I feel the Warzone needs.
You know, Nikki, did everybody see the skillful way in which Nikki bluffed her way through that question? If you'd been with us earlier, you would see what a sign of intelligence.
I wanted somebody like, I didn't know she plays Call of Duty.
What a sign of intelligence that she has. So they announced yesterday that they are bringing 2 new characters to Call of Duty Warzone. You can be John Rambo. Yes, Rambo. Or John McClane. Die Hard.
Okay.
Those are the 2 characters that they're bringing in.
Rambo and Die Hard are being included.
Also, in one of the maps, the Nakatomi Plaza building is going to show up on the map, which, again, that's a reference to Die Hard. And so when I was looking at this, I was like, you know what? They're unveiling to me a little bit more than they think they're unveiling. Because if you go look at Fortnite has all the crossovers. I mean, you can find everything in Fortnite. You just have to pay attention. The Marvel characters, Batman, haven't seen Superman there, but what else? Like Tomb Raider, just any franchise you can think of has probably showed up there. And it's a lot more, let's just say, like pop culture friendly.
Yeah.
To me, when they name these characters for Call of Duty Warzone, they're basically like, so your kids play Fortnite. Well, dad needs a little something for the Warzone.
Are you saying that you assume because Rambo and John McClane are older characters from older franchises that they're trying to hit an older audience?
Yes.
Yeah, probably.
They're 80s action stars or action characters.
They can't They can't get, the ability to get anybody else. Maybe they just can't.
Well, because if they were like, hey, we're putting John McClane in Fortnite players would be like, who? What? What's a Die Hard? Is that a perk? Can I get that? Like, is that a weapon? What is that? They got
something at least. I mean, it's still a classic character. You might not know. Like, I've never seen Die Hard, but I know the character. Well, that's probably just because you. Yeah. Because of you.
Yeah. So, I mean, because every Christmas. But
you would know. Yeah, every Christmas you watch that. But you know Rambo still. So at least they got 2 things.
Yeah, I mean, good for them.
But let's celebrate starting off somewhere.
Good for them and for trying.
Yeah.
I just feel like when I look at this, I go, oh, yeah, that's their audience. It's like when I see the Hover Round commercial during The Price is Right. And I'm just like, okay, I know who the target audience is for this particular thing.
So it started yesterday. And if you're up for Rambo or John McClane for Call of Duty for Warzone, the operator bundles, unique weapons, blueprints, emblems and charms will be up until June 18th.
Don't know how much they cost, but you do have to buy them. So, but you know what?
You're having focus on that.
You're having so much fun.
What's the money then?
Like, who even cares? All right. Like, wow, it's so fun. So buy a new doll or action figure and
have a good time.
See, I did it again. I took the R from action figure and put it in with doll and said draw.
Mm-hmm.
You almost missed hearing this one. We just couldn't let that happen. The worst of the riot. Radio U.
Well, how many times have you found yourself naked in the woods?
Too many times to count.
You just lose count after a while. Now, you didn't go into the woods naked, but, when you're out there surrounded by all that nature, sometimes
it happens.
Nature calls.
Is anybody into nature park walking sort of trail stuff?
I'm sure that's a thing.
Do you come across naked people all the time just in the woods?
I mean, I haven't come across any, but
we're going to metro parks, and I think that's why.
That's actually true. That's a good point.
I'm talking the other places.
I don't know. No, I can't say. No, why not? If you go to metro parks and you see somebody naked, they're probably not alone, and you probably need to call the police.
Yeah, that's a good call.
There was this one park I used to go to where it was oh yeah, every Thursday night at 8, apparently people would meet down there. And it was it's not good.
We went to a park, to a lake, and then went down one road, and it was so secluded, and we were going to turn around, but there was this guy there, and there was this car full of a couple of other people, and this guy just comes out of the woods, and we had gotten out we were going to go walk to the lake, and man, you could just feel it in the air, something illegal was going on.
Something bad is happening.
Something bad is happening because the guy's oh, hey. I was just get in the car. Hey. Get in the car.
Are you really there?
I know. It's oh no. So I don't know what goes on in parks. It's not always great.
It's not.
It's not the best.
I'll tell you something else. Just again, for what it's worth, if you're going to do parks, usually daytime hours are pretty good, but as dusk rolls in, when I was training for those half marathons, there were a couple times I took some later night runs.
Yeah.
And I had thoughts where I was I don't know what's happening.
Going on?
But something over there is not right. Something's not right.
I'm actually here just to go to the lake or train. That's it.
Run a little faster.
We've done you a favor by selecting the best of the worst and compiling it all in one place. Riot Podcast Radio U.
Woo!
It's a riot.
It's the call of nature.
Let's not forget that part.
It's the call of nature.
And what happens when you hear the call of nature?
You got to go. Sometimes you got to go.
I don't know why people just can't control themselves. I don't know why.
Have you ever been on a really long hike?
No. And I'm sure
really long hike.
And I know that there's not bathrooms, and I understand that, but I feel with this guy, it might have been a thing.
When you're walking a mile, you can tough it out.
But if you're stuck out there for a few miles, but you do know that some people have a thing about going to the bathroom out in the wilds. They like to do that.
Well, I mean, the first bathrooms were all outside.
That's true. But we moved on from all that.
This is one of those things where it's hard to know if this guy did something wrong or not. It goes like this. This guy is out in the forest, and he's
Sam Houston National Forest.
It's about 50 miles from actual Houston in Texas. And so he goes out and removes everything.
So he's naked.
So that he can defecate.
So he can go to the bathroom.
Word, not ours. And once he's, finished, partially puts his clothes back on, walks out of the woods. Well, there's a woman who's on the hike. She sees the guy walking towards her. She freaks out and runs away, calls the police, and is like, hey, there's this guy out here. He was chasing me down, blah, 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 blah.
And he's naked.
And so the police show up, and they talk to the guy and her, and he was like, I wasn't chasing her. I just came. He's like, I went out, went to the bathroom. I was coming out of the woods, whatever. I didn't think there was anybody out there.
And he said he had some clothing on. It was just some was also draped on his arm. So it might have looked like, if you just saw the top half of him,
right,
that he was naked, but he wasn't.
And the police are like, did you see him chasing you? And she's like, no, I never turned around to look. I never looked to see if he was following me. I just ran. So
this shirtless man who came out from going to the bathroom
is either a real problem
or
he thought he was alone. He needed a moment.
Had to go to the bathroom.
And this is just a mistake. I don't know.
Well, I want to find out. We want to bookmark this because I want to see what happens to him. He was arrested.
Oh, yeah.
So even despite all this problem with the story, he was arrested, booked into Montgomery County Jail, which is just a few hours from Dallas. He faces a charge of disorderly conduct. Yeah. He could potentially be on the hook for money. You have to pay usually up to a fine of $500.
Wow. So I don't know who to believe. I don't know, whatever. The only thing that concerns me is I haven't done that in the woods. But
I mean,
there have been moments.
Listen, guys, go downtown any place.
Well,
okay? And now you don't even have to go as downtown as you used to have to. And there's plenty of people naked going to the bathroom, and they're not even in the woods.
This guy would fit right in San Francisco.
I know. No one would question you at all.
I'm walking naked. I'm going to the bathroom. Welcome to downtown.
That's city life for you. You keep your mouth shut about it. You don't call the police. And you just go on your merry way.
Just don't make eye contact.
Because that's what they want. Don't pay attention.
I made eye contact. Run!
The worst of the riot is over, but the fun can keep going.
Hey, I saw you checking out my goods.
Check the Riot blog or stalk us on social media.
You want to sample them? A little try before you buy, huh?
Through riot.radiou.com.
This is a butter flasher.